Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Raul, and I'm here with my boy Mike, and I'd like to welcome you to the second episode of the AO podcast. Now, real quick, before we get into this podcast, I do want to say make sure you follow the official AO podcast page on Instagram and on TikTok at official AO podcast. And then if you would like to follow our individual Instagram accounts on the bio of our podcast page, we do have our individual Instagrams, so make sure you also give us a follow. And then, secondly, I want to make a quick correction from last week's or the last episode. One of my recommendations was the group Grupo Frontera, and I was kind of blanking on the name of their first studio album, and I called it like El Camino, I think, but it's actually El Comienzo, which means the beginning. So make sure you guys do check out that album because that was one of my favorite albums of last year. But now, with any further ado, like I said, I'm here with my boy Mike, and this is the second episode. Now, we're not going to waste any time because if you guys have already listened to the first episode, you'll know that Mike did allude to the fact that I was going to be attending a certain event. And that event, ladies and gentlemen, was the X3 Adult Entertainment Expo that was in LA. Now, before I get into that, Mike, I really got to tell you, man, on air, so it's documented.
I was gonna say,
listen, even though this is just barely the second episode, I have a very strong feeling that this is gonna be the hardest I ever make you laugh on this podcast.
You've made me laugh for a number of reasons, whether you intended to or not, and also for listeners here, I know the last episode we unexpectedly just talked about pornography a lot. And sadly, we're going to continue that theme over here, but we promise we will try not to talk about pornography every episode because that would be weird. But this is I cannot wait to hear about this pornography, though, about this porn convention you went to. That's how did the idea start? Can I ask that?
Okay,
where was okay, me and the boys gotta band together real close.
All right, okay, so honestly,
gotta go.
This is a legit answer. So I think maybe I want to say last year for New Year's. Now, obviously, we all have the fucking tradition of
watching porn.
New Year's resolutions. And so I decided that I wanted to actually not necessarily do a New Year's resolution, but I wanted to at least do something each year that was a little bit outside of my comfort zone. Because for those of you who don't know me personally, while I do like to go out and hang out with my friends, I am mainly a homebody. So I do like staying home quite a bit. And so last New Year's, I really wanted to break that tradition, and I wanted to start doing things that I wouldn't normally do. And funny enough, the reason I even came across this event is because I follow a certain someone who makes adult content, and I follow them on Instagram and Twitter. And I remember I was scrolling through Twitter randomly, and she was promoting this event that she was going to be at, which turned out to be the X3 Expo in LA. And immediately, I wasn't necessarily for the event why that jumped out at me, but it was because, as I kind of alluded to in the last episode, I already had in mind the two people that I wanted to go with me to this. And I knew for sure one of them was going to be down, but I wasn't certain about the other one. But luckily, it all worked out, and we all ended up going. But that was one of the main reasons why it was something that I've never done before, something that's completely out of my comfort zone. But in my mind, I was like, this is definitely going to be a very memorable night just because of who I'm going with and the circumstances. And boy, Mike, let me tell you, I was not wrong. I was very unprepared for what's about to happen.
Okay, so let's start off with the beginning of the day. First of all, when you you didn't say this now, but you have told me the event started at 3. And what time did you motherfuckers leave?
Okay, so this is what happened. So before we even get to the actual event, I gotta explain what went down. So we had all had it set up that Nick was going to drive us, right? And so the only problem is that when I hung out with him like a few days prior to going to the event, he let me know that his car was actually in the shop because there was something wrong with it. But he said, like, don't worry about it. I think I should have the car back by Thursday, which was a day before the event. And so I was like, all right, that's what's up. And so literally the day of the event, so we were, like Michael said, the event started at 3, but then I think Nick hit me up maybe on Wednesday or Thursday saying that he was actually going to pick us up a little later because he was going to be running an errand. And so the plan is that we were going to leave at 5. And so that day, I'm in my kitchen. I had just made myself some chicken tacos. And it was barely 4. It was barely 4. And as I'm finishing eating my taco, because I was going to finish eating my food and then I was going to take a shower. So, I could be ready for when Nick picked us up. And literally, as I'm eating my last taco, I'm like, I get a text and it's Nick. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I don't have my car. And so I was like, okay, so I'm like trying to figure out what we're going to do now. And so the thing is too, what the plan is that we were actually going to pregame a little bit before the event. But the original plan is, since Nick was going to drive us, what we were going to do is Nick had like a mini ice chest full of like alcohol. And we were going to get there and then we were going to drink a little bit of it in the parking lot before we went in.
Yeah.
But since Nick's car wasn't fucking working, we decided that Rob picked him up and then they came over to my house and we pretty much just chilled in my backyard and we had some drinks.
Yes.
And then, so we finally had the drinks and then we call an Uber. So we took an Uber there.
Oh, you took the Uber to the event?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so as we're getting there, because the thing is, okay, so we pounded about like 3 drinks before we left, and we chugged them pretty fast. And so by the time we're like almost at the event, but I had to fucking piss so fucking bad. And like, it was to the point where we were next to a gas station.
Wait, how big were the drinks? It
was just like the regular cans. Like he just had a nice chest full of like Mike's Hard Lemonade, White Claws, Twisted Teas. Oh, by the way, when I went to Nick's house prior to going to the event, I tried Twisted Teas for the first time, and they're actually pretty fucking good.
I haven't had those, but go. Anyways, you had a piss.
Yeah, so we had to piss. So it was literally to the point where we had to ask the Uber driver because we were right next to a gas station, and so we stopped right there to go and see if they had a bathroom, and fucking unfortunately they didn't. But fortunately for us, we were literally right down the street from the event. So we get off, we check in.
That's good.
Yeah, so we get off, we check in, and luckily for us, the bathroom was right there on the right-hand side as soon as you went in up some stairs. And so me and freaking Nick and Rob fucking just hightail it to the bathroom because unbeknownst to me, they also actually had to really piss. And so we get into the stall. I am on the far left. Nick is in the middle.
We're getting to the peeing stories. Let's go.
Nick is in the middle,
and then with the boys,
and then Rob is on the far right, and so we just let it go.
Oh, you guys separated? You guys didn't stand next to each other? Pee?
What kind of shit? What kind of bathrooms do you think they have? It's a regular convention. It's not like they're gonna have like fucking glory holes for.
I didn't say that. I did.
Okay,
I said like the urinals, y'all just didn't stand next to each other on some like gay shit. Not like, oh, did you guys put in like your dicks in the glory hole?
Listen,
to pee in someone's mouth? Like I didn't say that at all. That's all you. Go on.
Okay, so anyways, so we're taking a piss, and fucking Nick, man.
What did he say?
Nick starts making these noises, which I can only describe as what these people at this event do for work. And the thing, like, he just starts moaning as he's taking a piss. and the thing that cracked me up that I didn't realize until afterwards, Rob told me after, he's like, hey bro, like when we were taking a piss, like Nick was
sorry for the noise, by the way.
Sorry about that. But so Nick was like, Rob told me afterwards, he's like, dude, Nick was making me laugh so fucking hard that it was actually making my piss come out faster, and that's why he fucking finished before both of us.
What? Was Nick doing that on purpose, or does he just
that's just
do
legit
that?
him.
How do you?
And here's the thing. All right, well, real quick, now that I just literally remembered. I got to give a little bit of context as to our friend Nick, because
let's give people some lore, I guess.
I'm just going to give a brief context.
I'm not advocating this, but go on.
I'm just going to give a brief context just so you understand why I was so excited to go with him specifically to this event. Mm-hmm. Nick, like I mentioned in the first episode, he's somebody that has a very unique personality, and I found that out because I want to say maybe about 2 years ago now, me and the other homie that went with us, Rob, we actually took him to his very first strip club.
Oh, we'll talk about this too?
Yeah, I have to give them an idea because it's kind of like the same environment.
Okay.
And so we went, and mind you, like while we were there, me and the homie Rob are doing, what you're supposed to do. We're sitting up front, tipping the dancers, getting dances. Meanwhile, this whole time, Nick spent the entire night at the bar just talking to the bartender. But I forgot a detail that I didn't remember until recently when I was retelling the story to someone. We went to an 18 and over club. And so for those of you who don't know, that means that they're not allowed to serve alcohol. So it's like Nick was literally sitting there. He's like, that's an interesting story, Mercedes. Go ahead and top me off another Dr. Pepper. Because here's the thing. It would be one thing if he was at the bar and he was like at least drinking, But he's like literally just sipping Dr. Peppers and just like having a life conversation.
I was surprised they sell like alcohol at Disneyland, but they don't sell alcohol.
No, but that's the rule. If it's an 18 and over club, they can't sell.
I don't go to clubs. I'm not a club dude. I'm
but
not
anyway,
a strip club dude. That's why I'm not joining any of these adventures. But if you're uncomfortable in a situation, don't want to do it. Yeah, that's right. Just sit on the bar with Dr. Pepper on it. But Nick was excited to go though, right? He was excited to go to the strip club, right?
I'm not really sure, but
he just went.
He went, but I mean, it's not that he wasn't excited. It's just that it's not really his thing. Fuck you. It's not really his thing.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to just give you guys an idea. He's like very sort of kind of awkward around those types of environments.
You're just shitting on Nick right
How is it shitting when it's actually him? Like, if I brought him on here, and he would say the same thing.
All right, fair.
And so that's just, I want to give you guys a little bit of context. So he's like very kind of awkward around that type of situation. So I wanted to see, but the thing is, while he is awkward in those types of situations, as I also mentioned in the last episode, he also is down for anything.
Yeah, he volunteers.
Yeah, so
he's
like
shit.
He's very open minded. So at the same time, even if this wasn't necessarily his thing, I knew that he was at least going to have a good time, and so that's why I was excited to take him. And so my other boy Rob, he just wanted to go. So, and so we finally get there, right? We're done taking a piss, and we head downstairs and we go in, and it's just like this big area where they have like a bunch of booths set up. It's either like individual creators, content creators, or like big companies like Brazzers, for example. And it's just essentially like a thing where you get to meet your favorite content creator, buy some merch possibly. But I'll never forget. So we're walking through the event just, because we're not really there for anything in particular. So we're just walking around, and we get to the middle stage, and it was like a really big stage with like a really big like screen in the back. And they were doing like they had some of the girls on stage and they were doing like some sort of contest, like they were playing like musical chairs. They had a twerk contest at one point.
Porn musical chairs. Like what was the music? Like the Pornhub theme?
No, stupid. It was
just regular musical chairs.
Like regular music. And so, fucking. You just made me repicture that event, but like now that like for some reason there's fucking like circus music playing.
Circus music. All the fucking freaks in the show.
But no, so they do that, and here's the thing: I started to get like a really good sense of who these events are for, like what kind of fans they're there for. And let me tell you what the first thing I realized was, so we're watching this happen, right? And at one point they were doing kind of like a thing where the guy who had the microphone was like interviewing each of the individual girls, and I think he was like asking them what their name was and like what their favorite thing about being in the industry is. And I'll never forget, one of the girls said something along the lines of she just like really likes having sex, and out on the left side on the far back of the crowd, I just hear somebody yell cream pies, and then simultaneously on the right hand side I hear another dude yell in compliance and say yeah, and I was like, what? I think this is listen, I want you to understand, this is legit the only environment where I would ever have witnessed this happen. And I
like, imagine if you sit down on a college campus, like it's only like high school rallies or porn conventions you hear that. Like it's like there's only those two, but it's just like it's hilarious. Cream pie. Like, if imagine you did that at like a college campus, like a college cafe or something, or like at like a McDonald's or something.
I mean, I could see that at McDonald's depending on the area.
Yeah, true. Actually, you're right.
But so anyways, so I fucking hear that, and then I'm starting to get like a good sense of where I'm at, and
you feel like you're at home.
Fuck you. But then Then they start doing a thing where they're picking people out of the audience.
Oh no!
To go up, and they have to spit like their best pickup line at one of the girls.
Oh, I thought when you said spit at first, I'm like, spit where? I thought that was like.
Listen, like it's not fucking.
It's not freaky like that.
It's not a fucking whorehouse. It's a fucking porn expo, dude. Like there's not fucking on stage. But so. They're picking people out of the crowd, and I'll never fucking forget it. There was this dude. I don't know how to describe him. I'll just say he looked like somebody that would be there. But so he like taps me on the shoulder because because the thing is we're at this point we're like standing towards the front of the stage, and so he taps me on the shoulder and he's like, "Hey, you should go up there. They'll pick you." And then I'm just like looking at this dude, like I'm like looking at the dude like confused, like bro, like if I wanted to fucking go up there, I would raise my fucking hand.
Like, hey, like, is he just telling this to everybody? Or specifically
that's the funny part, right? After the fact, Rob, because I told Rob about the guy, right, and he's like, oh yeah, he said the same shit to me first.
So he's just saying that to everybody. He's like, hey, like, and that was he like
pretty much. And then so after we're done with that, right? We start walking around again. We end up getting, because there was like a bar in the front of the building, like when you first walk in, and we ended up getting some waters because we were like really dehydrated. And then
from the peeing in the morning.
Yeah, and then so, bro, hey, legit, real quick, we ended up fucking going back to the bathroom like at least 4 times while we were there.
Was the place like drenched in sweat or something?
No, wait. And also, wait. Here was another surprising fact that really actually caught me by surprise. So, you would expect, right, at these types of events, you know, you would think that you would know like the demographic of people who are going to be there. So you know that it's for the most part mainly going to be dudes, right?
No,
Well,
there's a lot of like different types of things now. So
no, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's what you would typically think would
Yeah.
be like if somebody that's never been to one, that's what you would think would be like there. It's just dudes, right?
Yeah.
But surprisingly, we actually saw a lot of girls there and also a lot of couples.
No, everybody watches porn now, especially
Yeah.
because like it's a lot of things are more open now. Whether people like them a lot, they are. It's just like there's so many different kinds of things, and not only that, there's the scale of like the types of people who are more accepted now. You know, it's still like there's still a lot of work to do, obviously, but like I know so many. Like I didn't realize how many other people besides dudes watch porn until way later. I'm like, oh shit, it's not just us fucking animalistic worse human beings, but like everything is just open now. That's good. Like what were there standouts that you saw? We're like, oh shit, what the fuck is this?
Okay, no, okay. So then this is what happened. So mind you, for the one thing that I want you to keep in mind for the rest of this story is that from this point on, Nick is going to play a pivotal role in the way the rest of this night played out.
He's a main character.
Yeah, and so what we're doing is we start walking around the event again, and as we're walking past a certain booth with these two girls and this guy starts talking to us, right? And I think he pulls Nick aside, and I see Nick talking to him, and I didn't really see what they talked about because I didn't notice at first that Nick had stopped. But then when I turned around, I seen Rob with one of the girls, and she's like hugging him and kissing him, and they take a photo.
Yeah.
And so I find out later that Nick paid for like a photo op for Rob with that girl. And so like we're like, all right, that's cool. Like, and
How
then
nice.
And then so we start walking by the event, and something that made me really laugh because it fucking reminded me of what you told me on the first episode.
What I tell you?
you told me something when I told you where I was gonna go. You had said something about how like it's gonna smell musty or something, and fucking Rob, man. We're walking past people, right? And we walked, or we fucking, as we're walking past this like old dude.
Speak into the mic.
As we're walking past this old dude, I just fucking hear Rob nudge me, and he's like, hey, that motherfucker over there smells like straight eggs. And I was baffled because the thing is like, I've never heard
straight eggs.
No, but here's the thing: I've never heard somebody like a person's odor get compared to eggs. Like I've heard farts smell like eggs, but like to actually say a person smells like eggs is wild. And then so we're walking past the event, and Nick, and so no. So then we go, and then I actually stumble upon the girl who I found out about the event from because she had her like own small individual booth. And so I was like, oh, hey, like, might as well say hi to her, right? Because she's the reason why I'm even here. So we get in line, and as I'm waiting because there's a dude like talking to her. So I'm just like waiting for them to finish their conversation. And as I'm waiting in line, because I was wearing my denim jacket at the time that has pockets in the front.
Yeah.
And as I'm waiting there, I feel somebody like putting something into my pocket.
Ooh.
And I turn around, and when I turn around, all I see is an ass. And
like in your face?
Yes, and it was like it was a big ass, dude. And I was like, who? And then I look, and I see this girl walking away, right? And she's the one that put the thing in my pocket.
Yeah.
And so I finally get to the girl, and I talk to her, and I tell her I actually explain the reason why, because she does make adult content, but the reason why I first actually initially followed her back in the day was because she was friends with some of the girls that used to work at this strip club that I used to go to that unfortunately is no longer around.
Yes.
But that's how I found out about her. I didn't find out that she did adult content until like way later.
Yeah.
But so I'm telling her like this story about how I know her and how I know her through these other girls. And so we take some photos and everything was cool, right? So then we start walking through the event one more time. And as we're walking by, I see a booth. And in that booth, I see that girl that had put the card in my pocket. And I had pulled the card out of my pocket earlier, and I saw that her name was Gem Jules. Mm-hmm. And she was obviously one of the models that was at the event.
Shout out to her, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, and major shout out to her, but you'll find out why in a bit. So we go to the booth, and I see like they have some shirts and some posters like laid out or spread out on the table. Uh-huh. And there's a dude over there who like you have to pay like to get certain stuff. Mm-hmm. And so once again, Nick comes into play. And Nick's like, oh, like, bro, like, that's your girl, dog. And he's like, don't worry, I got you, which I have now come
when you hear Nick say, I got you, it is...
I have now come to regret... Anytime that I hear that, I know that it's not going to be great. But anyways, so I'm, like, kind of preoccupied, right? And Nick is talking to this dude and paying for something. And let me give you a good idea about how this booth was set up. So they have the booth, right? And they have the tables in the front with all the merchandise. And in the middle of this booth, they have a bed set up with red silk sheets. And then, so I'm like, just like, you know, waiting my thing. Because I'm assuming, right? I'm assuming that I'm just going to get like maybe like a poster. And she's going to sign it. And I'm going to take a picture with her, right?
Yeah.
what does Nick do? After Nick's done doing the transaction, he tells me, he utters a sentence that I truly and very strongly hope that I never have to hear Nick say in my fucking life ever again. He looks at me and he's like, all right, foo, get on the bed. And at this point, I'm fucking panicking, right? Because I'm like, Nick, what the fuck did you just get me into, dude? And so I fucking go, I sit...
Hey, fool! Get on the bed.
I sit down on the bed, and then the girl walks over to me, proceeds to lay me down on the bed, and she gets on top of me, and at this point, I'm fucking shook, dude. I'm fucking flabbergasted. I'm bamboo. Like I don't even know what fucking words outrageous. To like. There's not enough words to describe, but how fucking confused I was as to what was going on.
Everything went so fast.
And she proceeds to start giving me a fucking lap dance. And this girl,
while you're laying on the bed.
while I'm laying on the bed in the middle of this booth with people around and people walking by.
I know, it was like you got the homies watching, you got strangers watching.
And then wait.
And not only that, you're sitting.
Mike, would you believe me if I told you it gets better?
Yeah, let me say this, because it's not even sitting down, because that's like a normal thing. Yeah. You're a strip club, like you're laying down. That's like a vulnerable state.
You don't have fucking other people, like hundreds of other people watching you. That's another big thing. But so I'm there, and this girl was like, I'm telling you, dog, she was sick. And the thing is, she was kind of tall too.
Oh yeah.
And
she's like 2 U's.
And she's like, I'm like fucking just I'm like underneath her. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on right now.
You're like,
all I know is that this is. I'm trying to enjoy it, but it's also awkward because there's
hundreds of other dudes, including around. Homies,
and
watching you.
And then to make it even worse, Mike,
and what do you do?
I see a phone come out and start recording, and the thing is, I'm in the background. All I fucking hear is Nick like, yeah, like fucking get it, my boy. And I'm like, what? Like, why are you fucking trying to hide? I'm in a bed underneath some like really thick girl, that I'm trying to enjoy, but there's hundreds of other people around, and you're fucking trying to hype me up like it's some sort of fucking rap concert or something. And I'm like, Nick, like in my head, I'm like telepathically trying to tell him, dude, shut the fuck up, please. And then so this is going on, right? And so whatever, it happens, right? The dance is over, and I thank her, and we take a picture.
I can't imagine Rob's reaction.
Yeah, Rob told me after the fact that he was trying Nick to get to shut the fuck up too. So I appreciate Rob for that, but then
he didn't want to get
no. But then listen, so it happens, right? The dance happens, it's over, and I come to find out after that they actually used my phone to record it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, cool. Well, at least, like, I'm the only one that has the video. And so it happens. And I afterwards, I'm like, Nick, what the fuck, bro? And he's like, and then here's the thing. I'm like, Nick, how much was that?
Hey, fool,
and
get on the bed.
And then listen. And then he's like, I'm like, Nick, how much was that? And he's like, oh, it was $50. And I was like, oh, fucking Nick, dude. And then, but
that's actually kind of cheap, honestly.
Yeah,
that's like more cheap.
No, yeah, I'm gonna say it was definitely worth it for what happened.
If he would spent like $500 to like $600 on that,
no, but then so then also she did sign a poster for me, and we did take a picture. So
that's dope.
So it was definitely a very memorable experience. And then so shortly after that, we did get there kind of late.
Yes, you got. By the way, what time did you get there? Event starts at 3.
We ended up getting there like around probably 7.
Ends at 10, so you were only there for like 3 whole hours.
And then so after that, because that was basically the last thing that we did.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we just kind of chilled for a little bit, and then we called for the Uber to come pick us up. And then another thing that I realized while we were in the Uber driving back home is how much differently. Or how different me and Nick's personalities are, because Nick sat in the front, right, while me and Rob were in the back, and Nick just starts fucking talking to this dude, like getting his entire life story, and I'm just in the back like, bro, like, why, Nick? And then the thing too is like, you know how fucking Nick is, and you know how he talks, so there was a certain point where like a subject came up, and then
you can move that shit, but you can move that.
And then so a certain subject came up, and Nick was like, just playing devil's advocate here, like trying to play both sides for like this guy that he doesn't even know, and it's like. So, anyways, we had to endure that for the entire ride back.
Devil's advocate. What was he asking?
I don't remember, but you know how Nick is. And then so...
And is he just challenging this Uber?
Yeah, randomly. He doesn't even, like... You know how, like, Nick will just start a freaking conversation with anybody, dude.
Like, I'm just like, kind of fucking conversation starter. Can I say that?
Okay, well, listen. Well, you already said it, but... So, we finally get back home, and... We actually ended up hanging out for a little bit after, because when we got back home, Rob actually drove us to fucking Jack in the Box. And
that must have hit, though.
Yeah, it was. Actually, you know what, though? I was kind of disappointed, because I got the chicken tenders, and I don't know what it is. I just don't really like the chicken tenders from Jack in the Box. For some reason, they don't do it for me. But
yeah,
I did end up getting this new thing that they have. It's like a new dessert called an Oreo cookie bar, and it's essentially like a... It's essentially like a
cookie bar, but like Oreo shit.
Yeah, and it was really bomb.
It says in the title.
Shut the fuck up, Mike. But then, so we chill for a little bit, and then they end up going home. And then, so after that, I'm putting stuff away, I'm getting changed, and I pull the card out from that gem Jules gave me, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh well, because it had her social on there. So let me go ahead and give her a follow. And so I follow her on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm like, all right, that was a fun night. Definitely very memorable.
That was hilarious.
And wait, but look, and then the thing is, like, the funniest part of probably about the whole night to me was that, like, again, I said I didn't really know how Nick was going to react. And funny enough,
he embraced that shit.
Wait, listen, funny enough, the event was actually a 2-day thing. So they were going to be having another day the following day. and we actually qualified because the tickets that we bought were for both days.
Oh.
And funny enough, guess who the very first motherfucker said that they wanted to go back the next day was?
Nick?
Yeah, Nick.
I mean, that shit looked... Honestly, I kind of, like... I wish I was there just to experience that. Like,
listen,
just to witness.
And
like,
you're going to regret it even more in a little bit. But, and then so... Nick, so we were going to go, but, like, honestly, like... For me, it was definitely something that I found out that was, I mean, it was cool and fun and interesting. But like I said, it's not really for, like, these events are not necessarily for me. This is only for, like, people who, like, legit really keep up with these people and, like, they
that's, like, their lives and stuff.
Yeah, and so...
Especially for, like, content creators and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but the thing is, let me give you... I literally just remembered that I forgot to say this. And this is one of the funniest interactions I saw the whole night. But... It's funny that I'm going to say it now because I feel like this is going to give you guys a pretty good idea of just exactly the type of person that these events are made for. And it was because while we were in the crowd, I think it was when we were still like standing in front on the stage when they were doing everything.
Yeah.
We were trying to find, because one of the models that was there was Angela White, who is a pretty big name. And Nick was like trying to ask around to see where her booth was at, but you know how fucking Nick is, and he asked this one dude, right? But when he asked him, he like called her Angelina White, and this dude's reaction, he's like, it's Angela White. There's Angelina White doesn't exist. And I wanted to laugh so fucking bad because I'm like, bro, like, why the fuck are you so offended? Like,
Angelina White does not exist.
You could have like literally said, oh, it's actually Angela. It's actually Angela, bro.
Yeah,
like
this man
that,
is
like that couldn't have so like the thing too is like it was in his tone too, bro. Like you could tell, like it got to him. Like he was like, it's Angela White.
I could clearly tell when a noob is here. He's like, you only jerk off 2 times a day. Try.
He's like, I did that when I was 3.
I did. He was like, 20 a day, baby. That's my goal.
No, but then so we so that happened, right? But so I say that to say that
the man get like that's these people are just
so
so
like
into
those
that.
That's like those for those dedicated type of fans, like these are what those are like, kind of like but it goes like the same for anything, like for example,
comic book shit,
Comic-Con, like
comic book shit, movie shit, like all of that shit.
It's
just like different type
like,
of thing,
like just something that you really follow.
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna lie, I was open to the idea of going back the next day, but at the end of it I was like, you know what, that was really fun and it was a super memorable experience, but personally these events are not really for me.
Yeah.
So we decided not to go back, but I will say that for everybody that we interacted with, besides a few people, everybody was super chill and super friendly. And honestly, it was a really laid back environment. And so if you're somebody that, I will say, if you're somebody who has actually thought about going to one of these, I would recommend it, just because I feel like if you're somebody that was contemplating going to one of these, I feel like you'll have a really good time. But then going back to me being home, right? So I'm telling myself this is a really fun night and a super memorable experience. And so, like I said, I pull the card out when I'm putting everything away and I see that she has her socials on there. So I decide to follow her on Instagram and Twitter. And then, I take a shower and go to sleep. Obviously I wake up the next morning and I decide.
What'd you decide?
Mike,
did you just?
Mike,
you're like,
I really
like,
want you to listen. I really want you to strap in for this part because this is what is going to.
Did you jerk off before you brush your teeth?
No, fuck you. This is what is going to cement this story in your mind forever.
What?
So,
Did you watch her?
So listen. Okay, I wake up.
I'll listen. I'm sorry.
I wake up. I go on Twitter. I refresh my feed. Now, mind you, I told you that I had just followed her last night, right? So now, like, obviously, she's gonna pop up on my feed. Bro,
you're on her feed?
I fucking refresh my feed, and guess what you think I see? A snippet of that fucking video of me
no.
on the bed with her shaking her ass in my face on her Twitter. And here's the thing too. It wasn't just on her Twitter. I like click on her profile, right?
It's
a fucking pinned. It's a pinned tweet. So when you go on her profile, that's the first tweet that you see is me like there fucking looking befuddled as fuck and like and listen and then I fucking because you know how like at the bottom of the tweets now it shows you the analytics.
Yeah,
bro, over 400,000 people have seen that fucking video.
And do you hear Nick in the back?
Yes.
He's like, yeah.
No, and then so I'm like, I'm fucking tripping out, right? I'm like, no fucking way, dude. And I'm like, so I went into this event not knowing what the hell to expect. And I wound up ending up on Gem Jules' Twitter.
The main
as a pinned
tweet.
And so, real quick, on a serious note, I do want to give a huge shout out to Gem Jules. It was really nice meeting you. It was definitely a memorable experience. And thank you for, I guess, making me Twitter famous. That was crazy.
That's your most well-known thing.
Yeah, it's pretty. The sad part is that's really true. so thank you to you for that. Really nice. It was really nice meeting you.
Shout out to Nick, who had the audacity.
But that was insane, bro. Like, I can't believe I actually got posted on her fucking Twitter.
You know, you had like a little following with the weed shit too on your YouTube, and the fact that like,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm like, obviously she posted the video, right? But nobody knows it's me. Nobody is gonna know it's me until this comes out. When this comes out, everybody's gonna know that it was me.
I don't know about everybody. Let's calm down.
No, I'm saying, but like people who have seen that video are gonna know that it was like. And plus,
you got to tag that video too when this episode comes out, right? Cause,
most likely, I really hope she sees it.
Right. But that's really fucking funny.
But shout out to her for that. That definitely just made that.
You woke up the next morning.
It literally made me. It literally cemented that experience for me because it's out there now. Like it's not just something that I got to experience. It's something that people saw now.
Not only that, it's so unexpected too. Like you did, like out of all the things to get back from this event, that wasn't it at all, right? Like you didn't go there
I was not going in there to like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna freaking wake up the next morning and I'm gonna see myself on Twitter. Like
you're getting twerked on while my homie in the background's like, yeah. The fact that Nick's voice.
Yeah, dude, I'll show you the video after. You can legit hear him, dude.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but anyway, so again,
I gotta see this video.
Yeah, but anyways, again, shout out to the homie Nick and shout out to the homie Rob for going with me. It was a super memorable event, and also shout out to Gem Jules. It was really nice meeting you, and you know what? Honestly, real shit. I went into there like after that experience. I'm like, you know what? Maybe if this podcasting thing doesn't work out, maybe
you could just be the torqued on guy. Maybe you could just go.
Maybe I might have just found a new career path. Who knows?
Who knows if you are fucking disgusting, you'll go and follow Raul's OnlyFans. Right? Wow,
thanks for the plug, bro. I really appreciate the support, man. Fuck you. But in all seriousness though, it was an interesting event. I honestly, personally, I don't think I would go again just because, like I said, it's not really for me.
Also, like the trip and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
but again, it was a super fun time, and I did enjoy my first time going, and it's forever out there on the internet now.
Yeah, that's nuts. I gotta see this.
Then so now transitioning into that, we want to talk about something. So. For those of you who don't know us,
great story, by the way. I just want to know, like that. That's amazing. I
told you it was gonna be. I told you it was gonna be worth it.
Yeah, that's a nuts. Out of all the things to happen, like from you having to pee to the actual convention and the people there, cream pies. Yeah, great, that's hilarious.
No, but to transition. So we're gonna,
let's take it back.
Take it a little bit down memory lane.
2016.
So when we were for those of you who don't know, me and him both do smoke weed, and We actually, well, I don't know.
And
Did we both start when we were in seniors or?
yeah, I smoked. I started smoking probably like senior year. I think that wasn't the first time at that party, but it was one of like the very first times I was smoking. I wasn't a smoker. I didn't become a pothead until the pandemic. Now it's just a daily thing. But for you, that was like the awakening.
No, but then yeah. So there were, around this time is when I first started smoking.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, we had a mutual friend of ours that we knew in high school, and she was going to be having a party at her house. And she actually invited me, you, and the homie Rob, and your sister.
Yes.
And so, we decided we go to the event, and funny enough, we actually walked to her house because she lived right next to our high school.
She very close.
Yeah.
A lot of us live close by. So
and then, we walk there, and we get there, and she had the party in her backyard.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, it was me, you, and then your sister, and we were in the corner, and so they had their they had the backyard lights on.
It was like a nice, vibrant, roomy, and there was like a lot of people there, but it was still like a very nice environment type of party.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It wasn't like wild and shit.
But then, so there was they had the light from obviously the backyard on.
Yes.
But we were kind of off to the edge because
the back.
Your sister had I believe she had brought a joint.
Yeah, everybody was smoking, had like a circle. And
and then but she had her own individual joint.
Yes.
And I remember we were off on the side, and she started smoking it, and we had taken a few hits, and we finally took one, and I was smoking, you were smoking, and then I'll never forget, the reason why I remember this so much is because of the visual that we got, and the visual was that, like I said, the porch light was on, but since we were kind of off to the side, all I really saw was like their silhouette. Like I couldn't really see like their face, but I'll never forget, you had the joint, and the joint was literally like this big. Like it was practically a roach. Like there wasn't even anything left.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this.
What I do?
You put it to your lips, right? And you try to take a hit, but the thing was so fucking short that all I saw was like the first quick second of the spark of the flame, and then you fucking spit it out because you fucking burnt your lips. Dude,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that shit was fucking hilarious.
I do not remember that at all.
That's
Holy
like,
shit.
Funny enough, like the thing is, I don't have the best memory, but for some reason, that's like a vivid memory of mine, like that you did that, and then so proceed as the night's going on.
Wait, was this your first time smoking, or
no,
did you just start?
I had smoked a few times prior to that.
Okay. All right.
But anyways, so they had a table outside. She had like a round table.
Yes.
And there was a bunch of kids from our high school sitting around it, and they were actually passing around a pipe.
Yeah.
And they were taking hits, and I'll never forget, I sat down. I just randomly, the thing too is like, I just literally randomly sat down at the table. Like I knew one person that was there. And then I'll never forget too, that thing was amazing because when I sat down and they passed me the pipe, like the dude was so blown away because he never thought that I smoked weed. And he was like, oh shit, like look at you, Raul. And then so I took a hit, right? And I was pretty lit. And here's the thing, from that point forward, after I got really high, I don't really remember anything. The only thing that I remember is that I started talking to I met this dude at the party that I didn't know prior, and we had like a whole ass like long conversation. And so we have this whole like heart-to-heart conversation, and then while I'm having this conversation, the girl who had invited us to the party had put out 2 family-sized bags of Doritos on the table for everybody, right? Just to come and grab.
Yes.
And unknowing, like literally, it was just like I wasn't even thinking about this. I just did it. As I'm talking to this dude, I grab one of the bags and I just start freaking munching away, dude. it gets to the point where I fucking end up finishing the entire family-size bag.
Not only, let me continue from this because this is where I come in too, because you've been talking for 50 minutes. So let's just come in and let me. Not only that, you finish that, and then I had the other one. I was eating out. I think I had like different chips. I don't know if they're like the same ones or not, but like it's just like I was eating a bag of chips myself because I was also high, but I was eating them slowly. I was just chilling with them, and then like you were high as a kite. Your eyes were just more so squinty, and then you're walking up, and like your days, like you're not even listening to the fucking conversation. And then I realized, what the fuck is this? Is this fool staring at? And I see your eyes looking at the Doritos bag, and I look down, and then like an animal, like a predator to its prey, you just like just like fucking snatch that shit out. I'm like, the fuck, and
Bruh,
you start eating
funny?
it.
You're like the way you're describing it. It sounds like you're describing a National Geographic version of me eating Doritos.
It's just like the way I'm like, the fuck is this man doing? And then you weren't a man. You was just like, you just wanted your shit, and then you're like, huh. And then he didn't do that. But that's just
like,
what
when did I make that sound? I don't remember.
He didn't do that, but that's what I like to think. But like he grabbed it, and then he ends up finishing the entire bag of chips to the point where he was like, I want more chips. So me and Rob and my sister and a couple other people went to get more fucking chips. And then we came back, and guess who fucking finished them again? And you, fucker.
No, but then, okay, so then it gets better, though. So after we, like...
Doesn't get better. I don't remember it.
Okay, so...
A lot of things I block out.
So then after the party was done, we walked back home, right? But the thing is, since this was around the time where I had just started smoking weed, yes, obviously my mom still didn't know. And so I'll never forget, as we're walking back home, at the time, I was like fucking, I think like most fucking teenagers in high school at the time, I was like really into Axe products. Axe products. And then so I had...
Fuck showers, just spray. You're one of those kids?
I'll never forget. I know. I fucking showered. I just used Axe. What the fuck? I'm not gonna... Anyway, so...
Because that's like the stereotype.
So, yeah, I know. But then, so, I remember we were walking back, and I had a bottle of Axe. I had brought a bottle of Axe spray in my pocket, because obviously I didn't want to smell like fucking weed when I got home.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, we're like walking down the street, and I'm spraying myself, and you were actually on the right side of me, right? Yeah. Walking right, like kind of a little bit behind me. Yeah. And I remember I just sprayed myself, and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna be a homie, and I'm gonna spray down Mike too, so that way, so I'll never forget. I sprayed myself, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a good homie and spray the homie, so he doesn't smell either. Yeah. But the thing is,
he didn't tell me shit.
No, for some reason, I just literally aimed the fucking can and sprayed it. Like I didn't even look right. I just sprayed in like your general assassin. like in your general direction, and all I hear is oh fuck, and I was like huh, and I turned around. I legit fucking sprayed this fool in the face with Axe.
In my fucking face. I was like a fucking, like an assassin, like a mob hit, but with axes. like a fucking Soprano scene, like you're fucking like straight to the head, like, and then spraying my shit. I'm like, I remember this. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, he didn't even look. Yeah, he was like that.
And I was like, oh shit, my bad.
Like De Niro in The Irishman.
Hey, wait, but do you remember what I told you?
No, I don't.
Your like eyes were all red. You fucking put your glasses back on. I was like, hey, at least you don't smell.
Motherfucker pepper sprayed me with Axe. I completely forgot about that. Like that's I remember that too. I was so bad. I was like, the fuck? And then I got home and they were like, what smells? I'm like, yeah, I wonder what. Oh no, because when I got home from that night, we didn't. None of us, me and my sisters, didn't have any keys, so I had to like jump the fence and like go in the house too. That was nuts as well. That was nuts.
But then listen. So then, to kind of cap off that story, the thing that made it great is that so when I woke up the next morning, because around this time this was when Snapchat was still pretty big.
Yes.
And
oh yeah,
yeah, and I remember I went on my Snapchat, right, and and you know how like obviously when you scroll to the right, it shows you all the people, or no, when you scroll to the left, it shows you all the people that you follow.
Yeah.
So I saw like 2 new people on my Snapchat, and I was legit like, who the fuck are these people? Like, and then so I'm the next.
And then you're walking in the hall,
no,
right?
wait, because it was a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
It was a Sunday after the party. So then the day after, it's obviously Monday, and we're back in school.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. Because at this time I was an aide for the office. And so I was just in there chilling, and I think I was like maybe like shredding some papers or something.
By the way, you being an aide for the office, that still boggles my mind.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
Go
when we get into high school stories.
Go on.
Yeah, but like so so I'm there like I think probably just like shredding some papers or something, and this dude walks up to me and is like, "Hey, what's up, Raul?" And I'm like looking at him, and I'm like trying really fucking hard to remember who this is. And like I can't think of it, and he's like, "Hey, bro, like what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And then he's like,
"Hey, who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, from the party." And I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Still don't know.
No, I had no fucking idea who it was. But the thing too is, I'm pretty sure it was one of the people that I fucking added on Snapchat.
Yeah, didn't you add like 5 people?
No, it was just 2, but I had no fucking idea who they were after. And then so that happened, right? So that was a really funny moment, and that was also like kind of the beginning of my journey and his journey into like smoking weed.
Yeah.
But to cap off this episode, we're gonna do our
good segue
pick of the day to cap it off.
Truly creative segue.
Yeah, and so another. So do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Go first. I forgot we're doing this again.
So, for me, mine is actually from West Side Gun, who is a member of Griselda. And I've been a fan of Griselda for a while now. And I think you're the one that actually put me onto them, right?
Yeah, I think we were both getting into them around the same time, especially when What Was She Gonna Do?
Oh yeah,
came out. That was when we were both like, oh shit. Okay, go on.
But then West Side Gun recently dropped a project. It's called And Then You Pray For Me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he dropped an album, and I want to say specifically, actually, you know what? I'm actually going to give you guys a double header because I cannot deny how good this other song is.
Ooh, double head.
Shut the fuck up. And then I did enjoy that album as a whole, but more specifically, the 2 tracks on there that I really, really enjoyed were Ultra Griselda and then also Kitchen Lights. Those 2 tracks were definitely standouts for me.
Yeah.
So I would have to say, make sure you check out that album, but more specifically, those 2 tracks. Again, that's West Side Gun and Then You Pray For Me. And the 2 tracks that I really enjoyed were Kitchen Lights and Ultra Griselda. So that's my pick of the day.
Those are 2 very good songs. I'm trying to think, should I stay in a lane or should I just go completely different for what you do? You know, I'm gonna go completely different because I need these people. You know, after 2 consecutive episodes where like the main theme of it is pornography and entertainment, I do want to let's end it with something just completely not related to that. So I'm just, you know, and as a theater boy too, as a musical theater boy, I'm just gonna let this out because I've been listening to a lot of. No one's gonna listen to this, but I'm gonna recommend it anyway. The new Broadway cast album of the revival of Merrily We Roll Along, composed by Stephen Sondheim, rest in peace. The main cast is it's Lindsay Mendez, Jonathan Groff, Daniel Radcliffe. You know, Danny Radcliffe is a musical theater dude, and he's great. And that whole cast album is like a great album of a cult hit musical. So I recommend that if you're into like a very different mood, a show tune mood. I recommend that. It's a really good cast out. That's really fucking solid shit. All right, let's you said you wanted this episode to be 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, that obviously didn't work, but I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I know that it
really
was
funny.
it was definitely well worth it. Now, wait, real quick before we end this episode, let me tell you guys how. Because the thing is, so for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes. So when I had first told Mike, that I was going to this convention, I told him specifically that I wasn't going to give him any details because I wanted to get his raw reaction on camera. And so the way that we had first initially set up this podcast, when we were coming up with our schedule as to when we would have time to record, we had kind of gotten the idea that we were going to record every other week. And so technically this recording session shouldn't have happened until next week, but Mike wanted to fucking know so bad what happened at this convention.
I had to know
that he's like, fucking dude, let's just record this week. And you know what? Honestly, I can't blame you because as much as you wanted to hear it, I really wanted to tell you.
Yeah, because I know especially because you. I don't even think Nick knows this. You wait till I'm in like we're near Compass to talk about Nick stories. Like there's been a couple times where like when you get back, like I've been like on vacation or like camping and shit. It's like when you get back, we have to talk about what happened. And like you're like, and I'm just like fuck, because I already know it's good. And the reaction earlier was 100%. 100% authentic. Like that was amazing. He didn't know anything
prior to this.
That's amazing. That ending is nuts.
Yeah. So I mean, nuts. So listen, I
can't wait.
I went to my first adult.
My former coworkers to hear this and then turn this off 10 minutes.
Yeah. So listen. So moral of this episode is I went to my first adult.
Try new things.
Yeah. Try new things. Went to my first adult convention. Really liked it. Ended up on Jem Jules' Twitter.
Out your comfort zone.
Again, shout out to her. That was,
because who knows in Hollywood.
Was fun. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.